Great, amazing morning to you. Top of the hour. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock, and you're still tuned in to Coffee and Conversation with Collette. And I'm still so happy to be Collette. And I'm doing my curtsy because that's what I do. We've had a very spirit filled conversation this morning so far. Remember, at the end of the day, we're going to be educated, enlightened, and empowered, and we're going to have the conversations that matter. So we're going to continue with our dialogue about economic liberation, how we think about what information we have, who was the narrator of the information, and what we do with it to empower ourselves. And let me be very clear, I don't have a problem with the I, because if I am not successful, then I can't share that success and that know-how with you, so then that we can create a collective synergy of growth and empowerment. So I'm not caught up in that. And now you might be, and I'm going to go to the lines and you all can tell me if you are. I also, before the break, determined that I'm going to infuse a couple of other points of conversation. Lawsuit, Councilman Leland tried to extort $15,000. We're going to talk about that. The judge rejects the proposed early vote on Conyers seat. And then anything else you want to talk about. So, thanks so much for your patience. Great morning to you.
Woo! That was a great show this morning.
Thank you for holding
Queen Sister, I want you to know that I love your show because you educate to liberate. I got to get that book. The memo is the John Hope Bryan.
Yes, it is. And I'm going to put the link up. Yes, I'm going to put the link up so you can see it. I believe that that is going to be, it's either, now you tell me what you want, because it's either going to be the memo or it's going to be the Black History Reader from Dr. Claude Anderson. I was thinking about...
Cooley, yo, I love you.
Right.
But listen, I'm going to read this thing from John Tatum's post. It says, our greatest power over blacks is that we control everything they believe. We control their education, their news media, their entertainment, all statistics, and even image of themselves. This, therefore, allows us to inundate blacks with disinformation designed to instill the myth of white supremacy and black self-hatred into their minds. It's a physical warfare program used for protecting our white dominance. So I'm just saying, I had to read that because until you take the chains off your brains that they have programmed into you, you will never find the freedom that will give you the spirituality and the wealth and the health that you need to survive in this world.
Yes.
Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you so much for calling. I love you. I mean, did you get what she said? And it's not even more so to survive, but to live. We owe it to ourselves to live in abundance and have a fruitful existence and not to just get by. Don't you want to live? Don't you want to thrive? And wealth is determined by you. You determine what wealth looks like for you. You determine where you put your value, not anybody else. You don't have to have a big old car and a big old house. I saw a newspaper article. You know, they have these tiny houses, and they said, they showed a picture, and they said, oh, it's a tiny house, and you could put that in your backyard and have your in-laws, your parents, live in your backyard, kind of like a carriage house, you know, as an extension of family. And so there were people like, well, why would you put your grandparents, would you put them in that kind of house? And it's what you decide. It's how you want to live your life, but it should be in abundance. And you shouldn't live in fear. And you shouldn't live in inferiority. And you shouldn't live in an I can't attitude and persona. And you shouldn't live in a dynamic of they control me. That's the problem. It goes back to the onset of the clip with John Hope Bryan that says our biggest challenge is how we see us. And how we see us based on who we believe us to be, based on how we look at what they've told us we are. Remember, it's about information. You got to be conscious of the information that you get. Just because I've done this research and I can read to you what they said based on what their research is, there's always a motivation behind it. Unless I've created something on my own, then I can tell you what my intent was from my mind to the pen and the paper. There's always a position, and we have to get that because you can be manipulated by what you are reading. And again, it doesn't negate if it is true or not based on what they say. It's based on what you believe it to be and what you're going to do with the information. Let me go to the line. Thanks for your patience. Great morning to you.
Uh, Good morning, Sister Collette.
Good morning, sir.
Love is. I'm glad you brought that up because it was love that drove you to do what you did for your father, and that's probably might be the most important thing because we have to have that same love for each other.
Yeah.
But as an oppressed group, we have some issues in order to get to
We
that
do.
love.
We do. We do.
And,
We do.
and then, we really don't control our community.
Yeah.
And so after the love, we still have to get a solution to the problem.
Ah.
But we first have to start off with those that love each other,
Yes.
And but that was very important, and that kind of pull a hair
Yes.
on my head.
You know
But,
what? I have to
we
ask
get-
you. Stay right there for a minute. I have to ask you. You make a great point about love. And do you believe that we believe that love is an action word? Or are we just caught up in a said feeling that,
No,
okay, I love you, but I don't believe that there's action associated with that?
well, it's definitely an action word, but
Okay.
love is something within you, and that goes into a lot to explain. But it's something within you. You get Louis Farrakhan, you got Jeramogi, you got Marcus Garvey, you got Martin Luther King,
Sure.
Malcolm X. All these people, why did they do what they did?
Right.
They didn't do what they did because of love.
Okay.
I mean, because of money. They did it because of love.
Okay.
And Louis Farrakhan generates a lot of income, I'm sure.
Sure.
We're dealing with the resources of ourselves and then the resources of others, which are made up in this country by individuals,
Sure.
credit unions and all these other places that individuals go to, insurance companies to
Right.
get help.
Yeah.
And they don't like giving us what we should get.
Right.
Like the governor won't give us the money that we're supposed to get. We pay taxes.
Right.
Individuals pay taxes,
Yes.
but everybody should receive the benefit of what they pay.
Yes.
But we have to balance our resources with the resources of all of the individuals in this country.
Yes.
And the best resource that we have in terms of institutions, of course, is the Black church.
Yes.
So, Black church with good credit and doing all the things that you talk about for this economic liberation
Yes.
is what we need to do.
Yes. Yes. And I charge us that if indeed you don't want to do it, because I know it's not for everyone. I know that what I'm presenting can be really daunting to a lot of us because there's action and there's sacrifice and it's thinking outside of the box and it's working outside of the paradigm and it's pushing away probably from a lot of people who don't understand your position, will never understand your position. And a lot of times you might feel isolated, but that's what happens in growth, right? So when you think about a seed, think about it. The seed that's in the ground, it's a seed. It's covered, it's impacted with the dirt or the fertilizer, and then the water has to seep through the nutrients and the soils to get to the seed to allow it to create roots. And then it has to burst through the soil to then emerge as a plant. That's a process. It is not an easy process. You have to go through all the harshities of the weather, the tramplings, the dynamics, all the elements, all the components. But once you are birthed out, it is a different outcome. It's a different image. It's a different perspective. And that's what I'm asking us today.
Yeah, you're preaching.
Just take the time to look at where we are, why we are there. And if you say you want something else, it can be different for you. And we
Yeah,
have the examples.
yeah, you preaching. I think that's God talking through you.
I pray that. I pray that, sir. That's what I pray for. If you all don't know anything, I pray before our shows that God works through me to give us a conversation that will make us better. And it has nothing to do, if you all don't know anything about me, I don't have ego. I don't live in those spaces, but I promise you, I know what I know. And I do the research. And I do it so much that I know it. And when I bring it to us, I can give a perspective of, guess what? If this is what this says, you guys, let's go a little deeper. Let's understand what the motivation is behind this. And so we can determine how we need to then use this information. Not, oh, just because this is what it is, then okay, everybody, sit on down. No, slavery is over for me. Slavery for I
Yeah.
consider you all me and mine. Slavery's over for us now. That's like the Nat Turner movie. Y'all remember Nat Turner movie when the young man, the little boy, he might have been what, 12 or 13, and when they were planning their meetings, the clandestine meetings, and he showed
Mhm.
up. And I don't know if y'all remember that segment when Nat said, "Well, no, he's too young. Send him back." No, the gentleman
Mhm.
said, the older man said, "No, he's too young." And Nat said, "No, come on, let him in, let him in." And so he was privy to all of the planning, but that's the same little boy that betrayed them and went back and told his white slave owner. And when they
Mhm.
came to bust in to get at the last plantation, they were there waiting for them. And then that was
Yeah.
when they captured him before they hung him. But it was that little boy then that turned on his people. And so I'm saying to you, if you don't want to be liberated, and you want to stay in that position of what you think is right and based on him being best for you and what he has created in this universe and this illusion for you, if that is what you choose to, have at it. But you're not going to bring that over here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to allow you to inundate the minds of the people in which we're having a conversation that gives us a light bulb moment, that gives us the clarity that, guess what, we can accomplish all things. It is
Yeah.
what you believe that you can do from the God that's in you. I didn't say anything about religion. So let's get that out the way. So we're not going to have dissensions about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Doctrine, religion, none of that to me matters. It is the God spirit in you. And if
Yeah.
you say that's what you live through and that's what you believe, then you shouldn't even think that you can't. You shouldn't even
Yeah.
think that no matter what is presented to me, that I can't work through it and that it can be for my good. Because that goes back to you not understanding who you are. And so again, if you don't understand who you are and take the time to understand who you are, you'll continuously be in these positions. And you will live your whole life in this position. And then when you transition from this physical form, that will be your story. Well,
Yeah.
guess
We have to.
what? My charge is, as long as I have the opportunity to be before you, that won't be your story if you are open to seeing that there's something more. That we are
Yeah.
more
We have.
than what we see. Please.
Hello.
Yes, please continue.
Yeah. We definitely have to start off with those that get that love. That's what we plant first, and then we continue from there.
Yeah,
Another thing I wanted to say was that
sure.
I don't know what it was, but I didn't hear the last caller,
Okay.
and I don't know if it was just her phone or if it was something in the system.
Oh, okay.
All right.
We'll work on that. But sister had just a great uh, analysis and a great piece that she spoke life into us with, and it just said in essence what we've been talking about. That if you want it, you got to go after it. You got to believe that there's more, that you can do more. It doesn't have to look like everyone says it should look. You don't have to prescribe, because when you constantly believe in the information that they give you, that you'll be governed by that. You'll be Geppettoed by that. You'll consistently be the Pinocchio by that. So much so that you'll convince yourself that you can't do it.
All right.
That's what it was. I appreciate your call. Make today amazing. So, everyone, I mean, that's where we
Thank
are right
you.
now. Thank you so much. Everyone, that's where we are. We're having the real conversations. If you agree, you can absolutely call in. If you disagree, you can call in. If you don't know what it is that you think about it, you can call in. Let me go back to the line and see where we're at. Caller, are you there?
Collette, I wanted to add to
Yes.
the housing. There is a young black brother in He's in Cleveland, and he's building houses, cargo houses
Oh,
out of the bins, and they're huge. And he's building a whole complex of
nice.
affordable housing. He's a young black brother who's hiring all young black males and females. And
Yes.
they're building these cargo houses. They're building apartments and condos, and they're making them affordable, and they're getting all kinds of support. So if you change your brain, you can change some things.
Come
Thank you
on
for
now.
taking my call.
Thank you so much. Did you get that?
Okay.
If you change your brain, you can change some things. Absolutely. And what makes us think that that kind of information is going to get mainstream attention? Because they don't want you to see that there are people that are out like you doing development. They want you to think that the only development you're ever going to have in the city is what's happening downtown. They're going to want you to think that the only reason why your community looks the way that it is because downtown hasn't made it to your town. And then you're going to get so caught up in this hype and this dynamic of, oh, they haven't made it to the neighborhoods yet. Man, bye. All of you who live in the same neighborhoods, I was talking to some friends. I grew up on Hawthorne off of 7 Mile. And I do my research in real estate. And on my same block, the house across the street, and great morning to the Watkins family, I grew up, they had a double lot. And I'm looking at that house. They had that house and the side lot. They used to have these huge pine trees when we were growing up. That house was sell for $1,500. And I knew people that were still living on the block. So I'm reaching out to them. I'm like, wait a minute. If you still live on this block, that's why we can change the dynamics of our communities. Buy that house. Let the block club buy the house. Rehab the house, and then put one of your family members in that house. But we don't even think about that. We'll sit on a whole block and have 4 or 5 dilapidated homes, and we won't buy them and fix them up. But then when someone else comes in and buys them, then we mad at them. I'm just
They're
asking.
using cargo bins. Cargo bins. That's what it is. Cargo
Yes,
bins.
it's a
And
gentleman
they
in Highland Park.
huge. They're beautiful and they're huge. And
Yes.
they're weatherproof.
And they're
They're
weatherproof.
weatherproof.
Yes, it's a gentleman in Highland Park that has them off of Louise Street. You all know the shipping containers is what they
Yeah.
are. Remember when you watch the trains and they're going and you see those big
Yeah.
containers? That's what they are refurbishing into homes. You all, you can do it if you believe that you can. Change off the brains. Then you can
change your mind, change your brain. You can change and make some beautiful things.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You couldn't have
Thank
said it any
you.
better. Thank you. Let me keep going.
All right.
We're having the kind of conversations that we need this morning. Great morning to you. Caller, are you there?
Good morning.
Good morning. Caller?
Can you hear me, Collette?
Yes, I can hear you.
This is Ordinary Joe.
Hi, Ordinary Joe.
Once again, I want to give up my call, and I hope that it is Mrs. Perkins, East Side lady.
Okay.
I heard that she's having some trouble, and I do believe she needs to know that Ordinary Joe loves her, all the callers love her, and all the constituency of WHBR loves East Side lady.
Yes.
Hopefully she will call you.
Okay. Well, East Side Lady, did you hear that? If you are watching this, Ordinary Joe has now given a shout out to you, a call to action to you to please call in. Whatever situation you're in, we can have a conversation about it. I'm sure that there's some resources for you all. And let me just let you all know this as well. For anyone, there's about to be a program. You know what? This is why I work with the Detroit Association of Black Organizations, DABO Sheffield Center. There's a program that we're about to kick off. You all know that for property tax exemption, if you are under $16,000 a month a year, and you own your home, that you could be eligible for property tax exemption. Did you all know that? A lot of people, and you have to live in Detroit though. And I'm getting all the criteria now because we're putting the program together. But that's going to be a resource. So you don't have to be upside down in property taxes because you can be exempt. I'm going to bring all that information to you as a resource yet again. Remember, that's how we help each other. You get resources and you don't hoard them for yourselves. You give them back. All of you who need assistance for your water bills, there's a Customer Assistance Day coming up on April the 25th at Eastern Market, shed number 5. I'm going to be able to give you information about that. You all can call into the DABO Sheffield Center to get registered for that. We're already working on a water assistance day. You all know that there's a slew of shutoffs that are being scheduled for water so that we can assist with that. Again, maybe that's it. A lot of us can't get into a space of trying to think more outside the box because we're mired with these day-to-day things in the box. But maybe that's our charge, to help you deal with your day-to-day so you can realize that you're more than the day-to-day, and this too shall pass, and we're going to find the resources, and we're going to make it better so that you become better. How's that? Maybe that works. Let me go to the line. Thanks for your patience. Great morning to you.
Yes, I didn't get a chance to summarize what it, and you, as someone said that you wanted to know, he was asking the young man that handled the technician over the station. So I want to call back and let you know what my summation was. My summation is that we shouldn't call names. If we say we agree with, have a disagreement, we should let a person summarize and then dissect what they say. But I wasn't allowed that, so I'm going to say it real fast.
No.
The condition, if we don't, when I talk about conditions, I'm talking about our history, our condition. But when I hear someone talk about the credit system within a white control capitalist system, they're saying, accusing me of talking about their history when they are actually the one talking about their history, because they're talking about how individuals can make it within the white control capitalist system that has a history in this country. And really, when I hear people say, you're talking about their history, I'm hearing those people really talking about their history, not talking about our history, because you can only talk about our history by talking about our process of development, how many people we are, where we work at, what the conditions we are in, and then you're talking about our history. But if you ain't talking about our history, you're talking about abstract idealism. And you're talking about abstract idealism for the success of an individual, and that's what I see you doing.
Okay, well, thank you, and I appreciate that. And that is the position that I take on my show, on Coffee and Conversation with Collette. And again, I let everyone have a say-so. And so then when you decide, when you come back in on your show and you create a different conversation and an environment, then you can, and you can talk about that when you have your show. So that's not a problem. You can take you can take your position on your show, but on my show, thank you. See, that's what I'm talking about, brother Tyrone. So now when I give you some feedback that you don't like, then you're going to be insulting and then hang up the phone. We don't have to do that, brother Tyrone. I'm clear about my position and how I'm suggesting to have a conversation on this airwaves during my time. And I am fortunate and kind enough to create a platform that allows you to do the same, because I don't have to do it. But you're not going to be insulting to me on my show. That's not how this works. So as I shared with you before, then when you have your show, you can talk about what it is that you're doing that changes the mindset that we are better. And at that time, perhaps I'll call into your show and then give an analysis, perhaps, on what you're doing in conversation, and then what you're actively doing that makes a difference. How's that? Then we can do that. We can have that conversation. Thanks for your patience. Good morning to you.
Hey, Collette.
Good morning.
You know, a key word that was said, if you want credit in a white credit system,
sure,
you're going to have some problems.
Right.
Well, that's the problem. Why are you going to a white anything?
Okay.
If that's where your problems are lying at.
Okay.
It's not, when I hear certain people say things, the first thing that comes to my mind is they don't believe in us.
Okay.
Because they still saying what somebody did, and has somebody did their job better, then we will be much better.
Okay.
When it was all a lie from the beginning.
Okay.
And for those of us who saw through the smoke and mirrors, I don't think that we should back down from the reality of what's behind those smoke and mirrors, even though a lot of us get dressed right in front of it and still don't see it every day.
Okay. Sure.
You know, this thing, this greater is he in you than him in the world, is so powerful that You make your own reality.
Wait,
If you wanna be-
Six, stop right there. If you don't say that again, if you all don't have any takeaways on this show, you need to hear exactly what he said. Say that again, sir.
You make your own reality. And here's how I made my own reality.
Thank you.
You know, forever I've always heard these words. No matter what you do, there's going to be somebody there to knock you down.
Say it.
No matter where you go in this world, the black man ain't going to survive in the white man's world.
Right.
Well,
Right.
if you get all your eggs in the white man's world, no wonder they keep getting smashed on.
Nice. Thank you.
I was smart enough to say, okay, well, wait a minute. If I go to corporate America, they're going to limit me.
Yeah.
So I'll be the fool to go to corporate America, demanding that they change who they are to accommodate me,
Come on.
knowing that will never happen because it was never designed for me.
Thank
I'm the fool, not
Thank you.
corporate America.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Our taste for what we consider to be greater things and greater living has confused what we truly need for greater living.
Nice.
We are very unhealthy.
Yeah.
They didn't do that to us.
Right. Right.
Let me just say this. Let's
Right.
just play with they for 10 seconds.
Sure.
Let's just say they did all that,
Right.
whoever they may be.
Right.
They wasn't there when you cashed your check. They wasn't there when you went and started buying stuff for Christmas and birthdays and holidays. They wasn't there to tell you what to do with the money they gave you.
Thank you.
You did.
Thank
You took their money and did and bought into the idea that even after this, they got your back.
Right.
But they are steady fooling it and drooling you, and you come hard at them who is telling you it's something better.
Right.
Even if there's no more than something that you can do for yourself while you're working that works for you, but until you see it work for yourself, you're going to always buck up against it.
Say it.
That's like the young lady you meet at your job who do every Christmas or whatever, she does baskets
Right.
on the side.
Right.
Well, she's smart enough to say, you know what? I need to create something on my own.
Yes.
That's the whole premises of it.
Thank
You
you.
don't have to go to they. You don't need they. You never needed they. You only needed us and we, like you say. When you talk about I and we, you're talking about us. You only needed them. You never needed them.
Thank you.
But
Thank
because
you.
you put so much stock into them, I elected them to speak to not do that. I elected them to do. No, you ain't elected them. That's what you thought you elected them.
Right.
For.
Right. Right.
That's what you thought.
Right.
But in reality, in the light of truth,
Yeah, man.
even the law says what they can do for you, and you ain't even smart enough to even look at that and know how to go to them with your demands and what demands could actually go through. While you think an attorney want to hear your case first, because he want to go to things that he or she knows is going to go through, and they're going to throw away everything else because everything else is irrelevant.
That's right. That's
Get
right.
the things that's going to go through. Get the things that's going to win the case.
Thank
You don't need it to be long and drawn out.
Right.
It don't take rocket scientists.
Right.
If you can grow your own tomato, keep growing your own tomato.
Yeah.
That's a start.
Thank
If you can braid your own hair,
Thank you. Yeah.
braid your own hair.
Yeah.
There's so much money to be made. And if you got to look at it in a different way, well, black folks don't support each other. Yes, they do.
Thank you. Yes,
they,
we do.
Yes, they do. I don't know where you been.
Right.
Maybe it's your approach, but I tell you this, use the Jedi mind trick.
Right.
A
Right.
lot of times I tell people, well, I work for a
Right.
they're not getting, and they buy me out. I'm not tripping that because I'm a black man, they just won't genuinely buy. Well, I cannot tell them I'm black and they buy it.
Right.
I'm like the principles of money. I don't care. Buy it.
Right. Right. Somebody to buy it. Right.
I'll talk about that later on tonight with my wife and them and how foolish some of us can be. But for while we in business,
Yeah.
we put on any hat, we put on any smile because
Sure.
it's about business. And
Thank
business don't care about your color. Business don't care about your condition. And money coupled with that business is a really cold brother.
Thank
You feel
you.
me? So you got to be smart enough to handle all of this information.
Yes.
Use it to your advantage.
Yes.
Take yourself out of their purview and
Yes.
their preconceived notions and perceptions and conceptions of
Yes.
what they're going to do for you, as long as you continue to believe that they are the answer.
Yeah. You hit it on the head. And to that point, and yes, an unjust society. But what do? You make the injustice work for you. And if you don't know how, shame on you. And so if you want to still stay in your box, in your slave position and your slave mindset, go ahead. You can, what I say, sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but names will never hurt me. You can call me whatever you want to call me. But at the end of the day, I'm making money. I'm growing a business. I'm employing and helping people in the community in which I serve. And for me, that is my charge. So, Six, I appreciate you always. I'm going to get these calls in. Our time is dwindling down on this Friday. Everyone, there you go. There you have it. I'm about to keep going to the lines. But I mean, this is what it's all about. It's the choice. What do they say? You draw the line. So either you can stand over here or you can go over there. And don't be mad at the people who stay over here and you stay over there. That's the whole thing. That's like the biblical story, and the man says, oh, and everyone tried to tell him how to live his life, and then he went, and then he's like, oh, go back and tell my brother. And they're like, no, we can't go back and tell him. You should have took all the lessons when you got there. Well, we're trying to give you the lessons. It's your choice. So you can stay enslaved, and you can stay in justified position based on what you say, based on the information that you've gotten from him, that then allows you to think that this is how you're going to control your life based on what he told you. Go right on ahead. Stay there. Stay right on there and keep all that to yourself. Because all it is a Debbie Downer for those who know that they're more than that. They know that they're more than this environment, and they're working every day to be successful in that. And so thanks for your patience. Great, amazing morning to you.
Good morning, Queen.
Good morning, King.
Queen, excellent as usual.
Thank you.
And you keep battling the way you're battling, understand? Because
Sure.
you own it, you know, and that's what it's going to take. It won't be easy. It's a battle.
Yes.
And so, you know, we need to study what transpired during slavery.
Yes.
See, when they brought our fathers here, they didn't bring adults here. Mm. They took them to the islands, and then they bred them, and then they brought the children into America.
Okay.
And then they began to program our minds.
Yeah.
They gave us a religion. They gave us a belief system.
Yes.
They changed all of that, Queen.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say in 2018, most of us are still affected by that.
Yes.
And it's sometimes it's painful because when truth comes, you know, falsehood vanishes.
Yeah.
And people get angry. You know, they get upset because it's painful to accept truth. You know, it's like when you turn the light on and you've been in the dark all your life.
Right.
It hurts your eyes.
Right.
You know, it's painful. You try to pull the darkness back down.
Yes.
And this is the condition that you find most of us in, Queen.
Yes.
And when you think about it, understand, Queen, what you're saying, you're absolutely right. You know, that's go back to Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali. Mm-hmm. And the best example that I have was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, a man who only went to the third grade.
Okay.
But one of the first things he did was set up a school system. One of the first things he did was took a lot of nickels and dimes. He said, we got to get some land.
Sure.
We got to grow our own food.
Sure.
We got to educate our own children.
Sure.
You know, matter of fact, he raised our flag up.
Okay.
And he right here inside of America, in the 40-some years, he built an empire inside of America. And a lot of us rejected because, you know, the label, you know, we rejected because it said Islam, it said Muslim, and we rejected.
Yes.
And so, you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't stay around because he had to depart. For the simple reason, understand, there were still impediments in each and every one of us. There was still a disease that existed in us. Yeah. That's why after the Honorable Elijah Muhammad departed, the nation went down.
Okay.
Because we still had some within our own self that had not been removed.
Yes.
And so his going away, understand, allowed us in medicine or whatever. And so now we're able to look back at our faults and the things that we did that it didn't continue on, understand, that now we can look back, and when the nation come up this time, it will never fall again, and it's on its way.
Yeah.
You know, many of us, Queen, you know, we don't even know what's going on. You know, China, Russia, Iran, do you know they're changing the currency? They're no longer using, it's been boycotted, the U.S. dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us don't know that.
Yeah.
You know, China is saying they buy the most oil on the planet.
Sure.
China has said you either will accept, I forgot the name of the currency, but he said if you don't want that, he said we'll give you gold.
Okay.
And what is that going to do to the Federal Reserve? So we run around and we don't recognize if me and you and us don't pull our resources together and come together and put our little petty problems to the side, it would be our own fault, Queen.
Yeah, and you said it there. We're going to have a show about it because we don't understand that money has no value, that it's made, it's produced on a pressing machine. If we're backed by gold, we're going to have a whole history about that because we don't understand that. We don't understand currency. We don't understand how we then maneuver in these markets internationally and what those depreciations in that value looks like. We don't understand any of that. Well, the truth is because we don't make our money work for us in America. So let's just say that. So we can't even talk about what other countries are doing because we don't understand the dollar here.
And you're absolutely, and that's my whole point, Queen.
Yeah.
We don't understand. We like children. Yeah. We're like children. You're sitting there like a mother trying to get children up to clean up around the house. You're like a mother.
Yeah.
You know, you're dealing really. We're like children. In all honesty, Queen. You know, I'm not ashamed to say we are like little children.
I believe
it. How we think. We think like babies.
And look, but you know what? You hit it on the head, brother. But we don't think. I would be elated if we thought. And a lot of people can get offended by this. But we don't think. The conversations for the majority that I get, especially the push and pull, is a regurgitation of information. It's not a thought process. Because if you thought and understood what you read or your position, you would have to question yourself why I believe these things to be true. Why I accept this information as my narrative. Why do I allow it to control the actions that I take on a daily basis and the conversations in which I have with people? That's called thinking. But when you just get stuff and start regurgitating it and say it's fact and this is what it is, and then you want to push back and you want to fight folks and you want to argue with them because you keep trying to make a point based off of some information that you got from somebody else that you didn't even author, and you want to create dissension off of that, that's the problems that we have. We weren't taught how to think. What do we talk about that with this educational system? From the time that the child is brought up of age and can get into a Head Start program, what is that, 2 or 3 or 4 years old, they are taught, they are given information. You are trained. You're trained. So this is what it is. An A is an A because I said it's an A and the sound is I. That you're trained. No one has taken the time to tell you, okay, hold on. Now let's think through. Let's have critical assessment of what this information is and what does it look like around you so you can determine how you live and maneuver. We're not taught how to think. We don't think.
Queen, you remind me of Mary.
Okay.
In the story of Mary, understand, when you're dead in it, understand, you'll find out that here's this sister that was impregnated by God.
Yeah.
It wasn't talking about in the understanding that we accept.
Yeah.
She was impregnated in the mind, her thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave birth to a child that thought outside of the box, that represented the end of the world that we live in.
Yeah.
He had a mindset that he would come into the world, that he would destroy the world that we had been living in.
Yes.
And that's what you're thinking, and we don't want to accept that.
Right.
And that's the bottom line. It said, let the old ones go and die out.
Right.
The old mind, the old thinking.
Yes.
Let them die out. Time is going to take care of all of that.
That's right.
Just keep living. Time will take care of all of that, Queen.
That's
Queen,
right,
love
King.
you. You have a blessed
too.
weekend.
Have an amazing weekend as well. I mean, he said it. What do they say? Time will show all things. Let me take this last call before we go. Thanks for your patience. Great morning to you. Call, are you there?
Yes. How are you, Miss Ramsey?
Amazing. How are you?
I want to make a comment on Gabe Leland, Monica Tanya. Same crime, same scenario. You think we'll see the same results?
Right. Good point. We should. Everyone, if you don't know, real quick, there was an article, the Detroit News presented it. Gabe Leland, there was a secret recording device for the FBI that alleges that he tried to extort $15,000 from a man. It's a federal lawsuit. The businessman Robert Carmick said he delivered $7,500 cash in an envelope to Leland's campaign worker in the summer of 2017, and that Leland really wanted $15,000. So let's see what's going to happen, because you said it. That's the same situation that happened to Monica Conyers, that I believe the dynamics are same with the Senator Johnson. And now, if that doesn't prove itself, then we'll see. We'll see what this system looks like for us. But again, we cannot believe that this system was built for us, that it was made for us, and that the governing principles of this system are going to be of most benefit to us. Everyone, that's what it is. Let me take out one more call before we wrap up. Thanks for your patience. Good morning. Call, are you there? Okay, no, I missed them. So everyone, this is what it's been. We've been able to look at what I have presented today through John Hope Bryant and Roland Martin clip about economic liberation. That if indeed you understand what the economies of scale look like for these United States of America, and understand the value of the dollar, understand that you weren't taught how to make this work for you in this nation of slavery, that we were supposed to move from the slavery from the cotton field to the slavery of the corporate America, and that would then sustain who we are supposed to be for our existence. And so when you understand the motivation of the author, then you'll understand the outcome. And so I'm asking you on today just to think a little different, to think, to understand why we are given what we're given, why we are in inferior situations, why we're constantly having to ask for courtesies as it pertains to fair neighborhoods and housing and education. And when we don't have those things, why the prison population is booming, the eradication of the black family, the wholeness of who we are even in our conversations and how we talk to each other, and the levels of accountability that then we try to thrust on each other that we don't put on other people that don't look like us, who definitely aren't working for our benefit. And so I'm asking you today, in the midst of all of that, just to think through those things. Understand why you do what you do, why you believe what you believe. If indeed it is beneficial for you, so be it. Have at it. Continue doing what you're doing. If it is not, I challenge and implore you on today to ask yourselves why, to have the real questions with yourself. And as the clip initially showed us 2 hours ago, that it's not about us not being successful with everything around us. It's us not believing that we can. That's the truth. And so I'm giving you the memo. John Hope Bryant has a book out called The Memo. We're going to talk about that. But I'm giving you the memo on this morning, that if you know all those things to be true and you understand that, then what is next? We are not going to keep having these conversations about, oh, what it was. We understand what it was. So what are we going to do now? What does the future look like for us? How do we make the moments work for us? And for those of you who believe that my position is not right, not a problem. But you've tuned into Coffee and Conversation with Collette. That's the beautiful opportunity of this morning, that it's Coffee and Conversation with Collette. You don't have to be a part of the conversation. But I just implore that whatever it is, you do it in respect. I don't disrespect you. I will not allow anyone to disrespect me or the callers that call in. And we can always agree to disagree. It's always about the sincerity of your intent. And maybe a lot of times it's just how you come off. It's how you present things. You can always influence people's mindsets with how you present things. So I pray that the presentation today has been favorable to you, that it gives you something to think about, that you will be better on this Friday and for the rest of this weekend, as those of us are in observance for resurrection and the like, and however you look in your life on a day-to-day basis with how to be better for yourselves and your family. Because again, when I speak of me, I speak of we, I speak of us, I am because of you. And so I thank you for your time. It's been amazing. Have an awesome weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next Thursday.